Good day and welcome to another episode of MV Switchgear podcast, and today we will be talking about the MV Switchgear safety protocols. So Eben,
Yes.
take us away.
So we are now on the May topic, which is MV Switchgear safety protocols, safety measures, personal protective equipment, and best practices when working with MV Switchgear. So that is quite an interesting topic. So when you are switching switchgear, you always have the risk that something can go wrong. So in terms of that, you have to take some steps to keep yourself safe. Most of the time it will be, the first line of defense would be to have good switchgear with inherent safety features such as AFLR, which is your arc flash safety. A is authorized persons, F is front, L is lateral, and R is rear. So if you have AFLR, it doesn't matter what happens, if you are around it, you will be safe.
Yeah.
But even if you do have that, you're still going to take some extra steps. Number one, you will have your safety procedure, your switching. Your sub will be rated a certain incidence, a certain calorie level for your arc flash level, and you will have that PPE on. So if it's only a 10 cal, you will have your 12.5 cal switchgear switching suit on. Maybe if it's a higher cal rating, you will have your 40 cal or even more, like 120 cal for your primary subs switching suit. So that switching suit will protect you even if there's a very large flame coming out. The switching suit will try its best to protect you from the shock wave which will hit you, so it's usually quite padded and thick, but you still have some risk. So the old subs, we have the old non-arc proof switchgear, you have to switch every time with your flash suits.
Yeah.
Because the risk of something happening is just so high. And when primary switchgear or even secondary switchgear, when it explodes, you don't want to be close.
Yeah, definitely.
There's quite a few places where we saw the switchgear actually shooting out the circuit breaker and taking out a double brick wall, and all kinds of things that can happen. So switching and being in a substation, usually it's better to have proper PPE. And then best practices when working on the switchgear is to use the ORHVS, operating rules for high voltage system, switching sequences, making sure it's safe, using the proper barricading, using the proper earthing equipment, using the proper permits for safe work, having properly trained people that supervise the project, having your work area cordoned off and shown exactly. So those are the kind of things that you have to think about when you're working with switchgear. And just operating switchgear, maintenance of switchgear, all of that, it's super important. We've found a lot of sites where the guys don't even switch off the site when they're doing maintenance on the switchgear. I mean, that is so dangerous. So we've implemented a lot of things to make sure that when we work on a site, it will be safe to work on. Otherwise, you just don't work there.
Yeah. And obviously when switching, you have to have if you don't have your ORHVS, you need a responsible person or an authorized person with you when switching. You can't switch on your own.
So the regulations are quite clear. You are not allowed to do switching if you are not an authorized person. Authorized in terms of the act, authorized in terms of at least having your ORHVS training. Okay, so that is the way that you can keep yourself safe. And a lot of times you will find a guy wearing flip-flops and shorts doing switching, and you are thinking, it's almost like someone driving a very fast motorcycle with no helmet and no, Tom Cruise style.
Yeah.
But in normal world, we don't do it like that. You have your jacket, you have your helmet, you have your leathers, and you stay safe that way. You will always find people that will try and break those rules, but it's very important. So if you have an MV installation, you have MV switchgear, ask yourself, who is my authorized person and is he properly trained, he or she properly trained? So If not, the business owner is still liable according to law.